My name is Hunter Smith. I am teaching high school, and this scaffolding activity is teaching students how to determine source credibility through the meme of fake news. So let's get started. The activity, I will show students a picture from the social media platform Imgur and explain that it was posted after the Fukushima power plant meltdown from 2011. The picture, as you can see, consists of a seemingly deformed flower with the caption, "Not much more to say. This is what happens when flowers get nuclear birth defects." After that, they will then write, discuss, and debate the legitimacy of this picture and the credibility of the source. The learning goal of this activity is to basically just introduce students to the concept of determining source credibility, which really comes in handy in the future when you got to write essays and projects and do presentations. So let's get into it. So the first scaffold, I'm basically just going to break students up into small groups, and I'm just going to ask them to discuss and write down a brief summary of the quote-unquote important details of the image, which kind of plays into basic organizing information. Then after they've had some time to write and discuss, I will have each of them kind of share their observations with the class, and I'm going to kind of jot some points down on the board for everybody to see. Then after that, we'll make things a little bit more difficult for them. Then I want them to go back into their groups and debate if they think the image is credible based on their summaries, which kind of plays into that analysis of information and kind of using their observations as evidence to support their arguments. In the middle of this, I'll give them a little worksheet that they can use to write down, and it'll give them some questions that they can use to sort of lead them to where I want them to go. The worksheet will have questions that say, how does this picture show definitive proof of radiation poisoning and mutation? How do we know it was taken at Fukushima? And then after a discussion, they will tell me why or why not they believe the image and source are credible. So finally, when I want to really kind of complicate, or at least make it a little bit more difficult, give them some time to develop some metacognition, possibly, I will eventually reveal to them that this image is fake, and in fact, it was used by a Stanford study to determine people's abilities to recognize fake news, or at least critically analyze news sources. By this time, I'm going to point out to them that it was posted on Imgur by an author that, you could see that name. I wouldn't trust that guy. I wouldn't trust that author for a second. And so I think that the final scaffold that I'd really like to put on this particular activity would be for them to discuss and write down the different strategies that they might use, having learned about this, the different strategies they can use to determine the credibility of a source after this. And then to kind of go beyond that, I'd also like them to try and think, how could they use this basic critical thinking skill outside of the classroom or in other areas of study? I wanted them to give 2 examples, and I think that does a good job of demonstrating transfer skills. So yeah, these are kind of the basic cognitive skills that I think this lesson does a good job of playing up on. You got supporting an argument with evidence, them basically using their observations to support their claims, their arguments about if they think the picture is real or not. The organizing and analyzing information, they use that, organize their thoughts in order to basically make their argument. And then again, as I said, with the transfer of skills, I really want them to use this activity to think outside of that classroom and how they could use it in other areas of their life. So, um, yeah, in conclusion, by using a modern medium like social media and the meme of fake news, this activity frames the importance of source credibility in a way that students can relate to and improves their cognitive development as students and members of society. So, thank you very much.